Thank you all for being here today, and to my family, all my fellow elected officials and friends and community leaders and business leaders, and to my friends in labor, thank you. Thank you again for being here. And thank you to Elise Swanson and the San Pedro Chamber of Commerce, who graciously hosts this event every year and brings us together to take stock and assess where we are and where we're going. I always think about what the most appropriate location for us to convene for the State of the District. And this year, it was here at the top of Topaz. So aptly named because from here we can see one of the city's jewels, our beautiful LA waterfront that is like no other. And as we look toward the future of this region, I'm reminded of my goals when I took office a little more than 7 years ago, to take that determination and discipline that I learned during the 15 years I served as a police officer in the LAPD, and to use it to create a city that works for the people, not against them, where people can thrive, not just survive, where our residents can share in the economic prosperity coming into this city. Since I took office, this council district has gained approximately 4,000 jobs, and the average wage in the district increased by approximately $10,000 per year to $55,000. The value of our building permits pulled in this council district increased more than fourfold since I took office. And this itself is a great economic indicator. The trajectory of the metrics is the secret to success for our future. We must increase the amount of jobs, and we must increase the amount that is earned. This is the way toward building great communities and great lives throughout our city. So today, I'll be speaking about my economic development strategy that I believe will continue to create more jobs and raise salaries. The strategy focuses on three things. Number one, supporting and implementing key transformative projects that will encourage private investment in jobs, in housing and development. Number two, public safety. Now, working with key partners to ensure that we have a safe environment where that investment can occur. And number three, building for the future. Our city must work better for each and every one of us. Addressing the first focus of my economic development strategy, placing transformative projects at the center of the community to set off a chain reaction of additional investment that will create more jobs, more housing, more amenities, and improve the quality of life for community members. Our first transformative project before you is the LA Waterfront and the San Pedro Public Market. During my first term in office, I spent a lot of focus on sealing that deal with the port. The port officials are here. Thank you, Gene Soroka. The $150 million of investment by the Brackovich Company and the port created a catalytic effect that is already spurring other investments and developments around it, like interest from the Niederlander family, who operated the Greek for 2 decades, to partner with the San Pedro Public Market to bring a new 5,000-seat amphitheater to our LA waterfront. And also interest and support from Jonathan Williams, the executive director of the Battleship Iowa, to move the ship into the San Pedro Slip, adjacent to the San Pedro Public Market. As you may have heard, Jonathan recently announced an initiative to raise $30 million to create the official United States Surface Navy Museum aboard the ship. And a move to the San Pedro Public Market will make the entire destination a lot better. Already, the San Pedro Public Market has generated so much activity and interest around it, and it hasn't even opened yet. Our second transformative project is a redevelopment of the Rancho San Pedro housing development by the One San Pedro Collaborative. Now, we're going to update this development, greatly expanding and improving the quality of housing while adding market rate and affordable units to the existing low-income units. The new Rancho San Pedro will become a borderless part of the new downtown San Pedro, removing the stigma of the neighborhood and increasing the footprint of what downtown San Pedro looks like. Now, these two transformative projects are creating new opportunities for downtown San Pedro. This is why Holland Partners is building a 375-unit building next to the View on Palos Verdes Street between 5th and 6th Streets. These apartments will be occupied by a young and vibrant population who are more likely to seek downtown amenities. This is why James Brown of the San Pedro Brewing Company, a UCLA Bruin, is investing into the Port Town Brewery, converting the 100-year-old Liberty Auditorium on 7th and Center into an active downtown destination. And this is why investors are building an 80-room boutique hotel with a rooftop bar next to the Warner Grand Theater just up the street from here. I love rooftop bars. This is why the city is investing millions into the Warner Grand itself as well. This is why investors spent millions acquiring the Harbor View House and will invest tens of millions more into the housing with a restaurant and entertainment amenities. This is why Williams Home are building 24 small lot homes at 8th and Center Streets, 2 blocks from here, with rooftop views of the port. And this is why I started the Little Italy of Los Angeles here in downtown San Pedro, modeling it after the Little Italy in San Diego. Soon we'll be seeing new programming, and in the coming years, new businesses, and yes, a new piazza. In fact, Mimo Bruno, who's here with us, of Di Stefano Cheese, is interested in opening a business in Little Italy on 6th Street. So as a San Pedro public market comes online, and more people move into downtown San Pedro, and as the Warner Grand Theater sees regular A-list acts, and as Little Italy becomes a draw, we will see all of our offerings being connected, creating a truly unique destination for the state of California. We will see new restaurants, new bars, new shops, new entertainment, and new opportunities for the business community. Downtown San Pedro will feel more like the thriving Gaslamp district in San Diego. We're also getting a glimpse of this with the arrival of Cirque du Soleil. It was a very special feeling walking from downtown San Pedro with hundreds of other people, all going to the show under the big top at the Battleship Iowa. And next month, the Battleship Iowa will host the first ever Pride on the Port. And after our first ever LGBTQ flag raising ceremony last June here in San Pedro, Aiden Garcia Sheffield brought a lot of people together, including me, my office, and the port, to make Pop LA a reality. So thank you to those in this room who are sponsoring this great celebration. Hope to see many of you on June 15th. And thank you, Aiden, for your dedication and leadership. Over the next decade, we will see the commercial development of the Cabrillo Marina Way, which currently has 3 competing proposals. The right development will create another layer of offerings and value for the LA waterfront as a destination. And I'm pleased to report that the Port of LA is releasing its request for proposals for the outer harbor at the end of this year. And I can only imagine, I don't know about you, a 2-hotel property with an entertainment element attached. So I'm so proud of the economic development we've created here in downtown San Pedro. And I want to replicate this model in all of the communities in the 15th Council District. After I first took office, I worked hard to finally make Jordan Downs redevelopment a reality, a transformative project for the Watts community that deserves better than World War II era housing. We are doubling the amount of units at Jordan Downs from 700 to 1,400 and modernizing the entire housing stock. We have already added a brand new boulevard connecting Watts to the southeast cities and building a new shopping center called the Jordan Downs Plaza, which I'm happy to announce will be home to a Nike flagship store. A Nike flagship store coming to Watts. I'm fired up over that. Watts was recently awarded a $35 million Transformative Climate Communities grant by the state of California. And this was a culmination of years of work, coordination, and collaboration by more than 33 different organizations who work together to get things done. Now, we need more of this collaboration in every neighborhood if we want to see transformation. This funding will indeed be transformative for Watts, paying for more affordable housing, new pocket parks, and major tree planting, a full fleet of electrified dash buses, an electric car share, and a lot more. They're fired up too. In Wilmington, we are making significant progress on the transformative $100 million Wilmington Waterfront Park. We will be breaking ground on the park by the end of this year, and the first DWP tank will be coming down in July. And my team and I are also working to remove the second DWP tank to create an even more green and entertainment space for this new destination. We're also starting the phase 2 of our On Avalon initiative to support new and existing businesses in this area. And as you just heard, Marathon is helping us with a $1 million investment toward the Wilmington Town Square Park, which will become the center of life for all of Wilmington. In Harbor City, the $100 million renovation of Ken Malloy Regional Park and Machado Lake has been a catalyst for innovative community programming for art, culture, and entertainment. You see there an amazing holiday celebration. But I want to talk about my second focus on economic development strategy. Now, we all know that public safety and economic development go hand in hand. That's why we've been working with many key community partners, including the Harbor Community Police Advisory Board, LAPD Chief Moore and his captains, and Deputy Mayor Jeff Gorell, to create a meaningful improvement to safety of our community and to connect the needs of all residents. Now, we cannot attract investment and development in the region if people don't feel safe to live here or to open their businesses here. Our police must have the bandwidth to respond to our radio calls. For the past 3 years, residents of the Harbor area have been demanding the opening of the LAPD Harbor Division Jail. And as many of you know, after it was built over a decade ago, the jail was never fully staffed and never opened. Harbor Division officers have been driving arrestees to 77th Division, 20 miles north of Harbor Division Station, up the 110 freeway. Our officers spent disproportionate amount of time in traffic on the freeway, transporting arrestees instead of patrolling our own streets. Clearly, this is not a good use of our resources. But because of the work of our Harbor community, and specifically our Community Police Advisory Board led by Mona Sutton, Mayor Garcetti has included the opening of our jail in his budget. Now, the opening of the jail will create the meaningful improvement to public safety that we desperately needed. And opening the jail will go a long way towards increasing patrols and making our officers more visible, more present, and more available to our entire Harbor community. Additionally, thanks to the work of James Diamond, a CPAB member, our new batch of patrol officers will get backup with new license plate reader cameras that will be coming online this summer. And these cameras will be connected to the port's network of cameras, thanks to Chief Gazy, to provide major coverage in the entire Harbor area. And our message to the criminals who want to commit crime in this area is to think twice before you act. You will be caught. And at the same time, our residents are engaged in participating in a new kind of neighborhood watch. Facebook groups like Bay City's Crime Watch, led by Chris Balanek, share information with each other and the police department, and have been responsible for the capture of dozens of criminals and the identification of hundreds more. In the northern part of the district, community groups like the Watts Gang Task Force provide a weekly forum for constituents in LAPD to collaborate. And the Community Safety Partnership Program, which focuses on relationship-based policing, that was piloted in Watts, is being replicated in other parts of the city because it's reduced violent crime by 60%. The Port of Los Angeles Police Department is another valued asset in the Harbor area and provides an added measure of security and patrol in San Pedro and Wilmington. The Port Police have recently collaborated with the Los Angeles Fire Department by loaning a fast boat that allows fire department personnel to arrive to water calls 4 times faster. And just as we are committed to working together to prevent crime in the LAPD Harbor area and southeast area, we're also demonstrating leadership by addressing our city's most significant social crisis, homelessness. Now, it's been difficult to talk about all these positive things happening in LA without addressing homelessness. The residents of the 15th Council District have proven time and time again that they do support solutions to solving homelessness. Those sleeping on our sidewalks deserve a better, healthier option. This is why we're changing the definition and attitudes towards shelter. A bridge home in the city's new model for a temporary shelter that provides homeless individuals with immediate access to shelter and services while they wait for more permanent housing solutions. Convened by Amber Sheik Ginsburg, who's here, the CD15 Working Group on Homelessness conducted an amazing public outreach to communicate to all the benefits of a bridge home that will be delivered to our communities. And in the past 3 years, we have mostly concentrated our efforts on supplemental outreach and encampment cleanups. But time has proven that cleanups alone don't solve homelessness. Through our outreach, we have met with many people who are ready to get off the street if there only was a place to go. People like 53-year-old Charlena, whom I met 2 years ago while participating in the homeless count here in San Pedro. Charlena was living on the street near the post office, and it took her a year after I met her to find housing. While battling homelessness, she was also battling a lung disease, making her day-to-day life that much more difficult. But today, she is living in her own apartment in San Pedro. And this is why by the end of this year, we'll construct 3 temporary emergency bridge home facilities with a total of 300 beds in the 15th Council District. One in San Pedro, one in Watts, and one in Wilmington. I'm also proud of the $25 million allocation for facilities and services to combat homelessness in my district. And we don't want people like Charlena to spend another night on the street while waiting for housing. A bridge home in each of these communities will almost instantly make a significant difference in bringing our homeless population indoors while having access to necessary services. A bridge home will be staffed by a homeless service provider, 24/7 on-site security, daily cleanups, and will have a dedicated 24/7 LAPD patrol car. Now, these dedicated LAPD patrols, coupled with the opening of the jail, will bring us to virtual full deployment of officers on our streets. The harbor area will also see the arrival of a navigation center, which is a storage facility for homeless individuals. Our navigation center, to be built at the LAPD Harbor Division by the end of this year, will offer an opportunity for safe storage of personal items while limiting individuals to a backpack if they're on the street. Now, these measures will give the city a defense to avoid further litigation while removing excuses to accept help from those living on the street. For the population of homeless unwilling to or too sick to accept services at a bridge home, Providence Little Company of Mary here in San Pedro has recently opened a behavioral health center with a 24-bed psychiatric inpatient unit, a 45-bed chemical dependency unit, and a 20-bed outpatient unit which provides immediate psychiatric intervention. We are hopeful that this model will be followed county-wide. Our community has agreed on these solutions to combat homelessness. I'm so proud of them, and these measures will help people get off the streets faster. However, even then, there's another step in the process. Ultimately, we must build supportive housing throughout this city. Otherwise, we'll be experiencing a bottleneck between the emergency housing and permanent housing. While we have the funding through Measure H and HHH, we are not building supportive housing fast enough because of neighborhood opposition. Attitudes toward supportive housing must change. Each of the 15 council districts have pledged to build 222 units of supportive housing in their respective communities. And while we're close to meeting our share in our district, we have to build much more. Supportive housing being built today is modern, as you see before you. It's beautiful, it adds value to the neighborhood and should not be feared. At a total of 160 units, the 127th Street apartments and the El Segundo apartments before you in Harbor Gateway are great examples of adding value to a neighborhood while housing our most vulnerable population. So, my message, please say yes to supportive housing so that we can go back to having a safer city for everyone that lives here. And now, addressing the third focus of my economic development strategy, we need to prepare for the future. The district that I represent always has been a blue-collar, working-class immigrant community. My parents immigrated for the opportunity to work. Our union towns are proud, strong, and united. The Port of Los Angeles, as you know, is a source of 1 in 9 jobs in the region. And without labor, we would not have a port or a community. In 2018, the Port of Los Angeles moved a record 9.5 million TEUs, which is the highest container volume ever moved annually by a Western Hemisphere seaport. That itself cannot have happened without our ILWU sisters and brothers who move our economy day in and day out. So, as the talk of automation starts to present some new realities and threatens our hardworking men and women, we must remind ourselves that we are nothing without each other. We must not allow the lifeblood of our communities, our workforce, to be so easily replaced. This, as we know, we have to seize this moment to ensure that good-paying union jobs are preserved, and we must put a plan in place to make sure that the next generation of well-equipped for the workforce and that no one is left behind. And I pledge to work with the mayor, the port, labor, and business to start looking at how we put that plan in place. We must control our own destiny. The port has long been a job center for the goods movement workforce, but now the establishment of Altasea, the port's new blue tech incubator, the port will also become a job center for the technology workforce. Altasea will not just create new jobs here in the region, it'll be a catalyst to research, creation of new businesses, new industries, new technologies, and most importantly, new workforces. Because of the technology sector will be so important to the future of the harbor area, the city needs a private sector ambassador to help raise awareness about all we have to offer. This is why I'm proud to announce today the appointment of Ann Carpenter as my first Chief Innovation Officer. Ann, please stand on my right. Now, Ann brings more than 30 years of experience in strategic planning, marketing, business development, and community outreach in public industry, nonprofit organizations, and as an entrepreneur. As co-founder of CEO of Braid Theory, she's been so instrumental in attracting the tech sector to the LA waterfront, and this is why we wanted to formalize a role for her within the city's efforts. So thank you, Ann, for all of your work in helping us brand the harbor area as a blue tech innovation hub. Now, as we prepare for the next generation workforce, we also need to think about how to create livable communities for our future workforce. Whenever you develop a job center or to grow your job center, you develop a greater need for housing. LA's housing supply is already at capacity and in desperate need of much more housing. Now, new zoning here in San Pedro, in downtown San Pedro, will allow up to 5,000 new housing units. And as you can see, that construction has already begun, and we should expect a lot more construction in the near future. In addition to the 375 new units Holland Partners is building, there's at least 2 other buildings being proposed just up the street, including the former courthouse property 1 block from here, thanks to the leadership of Supervisor Janice Hahn. Let's give her a round of applause. Let's do it. Now, that property will be developed into a 275-unit apartment building with modern amenities like a swimming pool, gym, ground floor retail, and a grocery store. In addition to creating places to live and work, we need to create public spaces to play, grow, and thrive, especially for our kids and our grandkids. Parks and recreation services are often cited as one of the most important factors in surveys on how livable communities are ranked. Access to park and recreation is proven to reduce crime and juvenile delinquency. As someone who started his career in the city as a recreation assistant for the Department of Recreation and Parks at Bogdanovich Park, I personally know the enormous value park programming and infrastructure can have on a child's life. This is why I'm exploring ways to fund recreation in parks. Since I took office, we've improved and modernized nearly a dozen parks and community gardens in the district. We built new parks, including Serenity Park in Watts, the Janet Shower Playground in Harbor Gateway, Bogdanovich Park in San Pedro, the Ken Malloy Harbor Regional Park in Harbor City, and Drum Barracks Pocket Park in East Wilmington, and the East Wilmington Greenbelt Park in Wilmington. We've renovated swimming pools like the Hay Rookie Pool and the 109th Street Pool in Watts. We're investing in the Normandale Skate Park in Harbor Gateway South, creating a world-class sports facility. And by next year, we'll have built 4 new skate parks in the CD15, 1 in Harbor Gateway, 1 in Watts, and 1 in Harbor City, and also 1 in San Pedro. And we will reopen Channel Street Skate Park after completing the permitting process. But still, I feel that we haven't done enough. There are so many neighborhoods in our northern part of the district that don't have a park within walking distance. So we have this, and we also have the smallest tree canopy in the city. And because of drought conditions and pest threats, we may lose up to 40% of our trees in Los Angeles over the next decade. Trees are vital to the health and economic vitality of neighborhoods. Not only do they clean the air and provide shade, they also create beauty and real estate value. For all these reasons, I've started the process to place a measure on next year's ballot to fund improvements to our recreation centers, parks, and tree canopy. Parks and trees improve the local tax base and improve property values. This increases available revenues and also improves our local economy. This is a future we must build together to improve the great public effect and benefit of our city for the next generation. Now, at the beginning of my remarks, I said the truth is that there's so much more to do to ensure a better quality of life for everyone. We must build wide networks to support in each community. I love Santa Luna. We must create new business improvement districts in our communities. We must continue to support and strengthen our chambers. We must build strong community partnerships. We must work hand in hand and support our nonprofits. The bottom line is the secret to our success is to work together and support each other. The secret to our success was proven by a group of amazing teens in Harbor City. They call themselves the Cash Crew. These teens worked passionately and diligently, oh my God, with my office to create and design and identify funding for a new skate park in their community. Damn, sorry. They had a goal. And they executed it. They worked perfectly, and they learned so many lessons, lifelong lessons. And their new $600,000 skate park is opening this summer. So, the story here is the recipe for success is we can create anything if we work together. We can transform Harbor City together. We can transform Wilmington together. We can transform the Harbor Gateway together. And we can transform San Pedro together. And we can transform Watts together. We will prepare for the future of housing, the future of work, the future of public spaces together. And together, we will make a city where everyone thrives. Thank you so much for being here. And let's get back to work. Thank you.